guy's a great friend of Smugglers. The Garveys have been owners at Smugglers for almost 38.
I think it's 38 years.
38 years.
Yeah.
Really?
I think so. Wait a minute. Now, we bought first time, I think 1978, 77 or 8. So how, somebody do
30.
30?
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. How old were you, Don?
Little.
Little.
What I'd like to do is ask anyone who has a story that they would like to tell about Don Garvey, and you're welcome to do that. And then I'm going to have a few words to say. And we'll have our toast. Anyone
Somebody
here
have a
have a Garvey story?
I have a Garvey story.
I knew you would.
I'm probably the only person here that up at, what do we call the pond way up above? Rum Runners. That's been launched by Don. Is the launcher still up there?
Oh, yeah.
Where you go out on that launcher and you jump on it and then you get launched off?
Oh, right.
Don has launched me off of that launcher. So, a first for everybody. I got a chance to launch him too, by the way.
I was there just watching. Well, one of my favorite stories about Don is two years ago, I guess it was. He kept wanting to go on that zip line, and I don't like heights at all. But I thought, you know what, he really wants to do this, so I signed up to do it and did the whole thing. And Don could not believe I did it because he was sure I was going to turn around and come down after the first one when you get the opportunity to do it. So that evening we drank a lot. I'll tell you, I was a nervous wreck. But Smugglers for us it's always been home. Remember I always used to say that?
Yeah,
I always
right.
used to say we were home. And we you know, for Don's not here to thank you, but I know he would want to thank every one of you for what you did. Always did for us.
So that's why we're here. To thank you and to thank Don, but I don't know how many of you know that Don and I fished together.
Really?
And probably the last, I can't remember the first time, but at least between 25 years, every spring, Donna would invite me to go somewhere with him to go fishing. And we had great times. We fished together for the first 20 years. And then Jerry announced that she intended to come along on our fishing trip. And Donald said he thought it was because when he and I would get back from fishing, we always had this kind of rosy look in our cheeks and we were all flushed and thrilled and we would never share what we did on our fishing trips. So Jerry decided it was time for her to come along. Are you ready now to tell us why you decided that you should come along on these men's trip? You know, it was our man trip of the year.
Well, I tried to stay low-key, but they also needed to eat. So I always said I was the chef.
That was my punchline. Thank you. We definitely ate better when Jerry was along. Most of you know that Don was also a very important cog in the overall Smugglers wheels here. He was the president of the Smugglers Notch Homeowners Association. As a matter of fact, Jerry was president of the Homeowners Association as well. They kind of one followed the other. I see that Joe's nodding his head. He remembers those days.
Don followed me.
That's right.
Just want to make that clear.
And what's really in my memory was just how fair Don always was to Smugglers and how open he was in the communications with us, and actually how much fun we kind of had with that relationship.
Bill?
I guess I could tell this story.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought
No,
you
go
were
ahead.
wrapping up. Well, I just say I'm Don's daughter-in-law, and we have two sons, one who just graduated from University of Vermont, one who started Champlain on Monday. We got married here, and our family has created a home here, and in great part due to everything that's here to be offered. And every day, Don would get up and say, "What's the plan?" Sometimes you weren't always ready for that. In the winter, that meant first chair, which still gives me the shivers. But when Ryan was about 10, And one day he got up and he said, well, what's the plan? I knew that the beat would go on for us for a long time here, so. Three generations.
It's not often that a homeowner becomes so integrated into the fabric of Smugglers, and certainly Don and Jerry and their family fits that description. He's a great man and a great friend. So now I'd just like to offer a toast to Don Garvey. Enjoy. And
Cheers.
if you'll gather closer as you're sipping your wine, I'll ask Jerry and Donald if you would do the unveiling of this. By the way, this is a sweet maple. We thought that was a very appropriate tree. So if you'll take those stones off and take the little Parker off.
Ready?
Oh, goodness. Well, that is
We thought that the fisherman was just right.
that's so beautiful,
In
Don.
honor of Don Garvey, a great man, a great friend of the Smugglers family, and Jerry, no other homeowner has been honored in this way. So that's how special Donald is to us.
Words fail me.